Welcome back. This is Ryan Draving with the Executive Education Alliance, and I'm going to walk you through today how to choose cities for your website and your marketing online using Google's keyword tool. Now you may think that it's obvious, you're just going to choose the biggest cities around you and the cities in your area that you service. Well, it's not that straightforward. Unfortunately, if you live, for example, in a place like New York City, there are going to be an incredible number of competitors going after the exact same keyword terms as you. And some of them will be very large law firms with very large marketing budgets. So the way for you to compete is not necessarily to be going after the wide range of everyone. You want to be very targeted to specific locations. And you have an advantage watching these videos over many attorneys that are marketing themselves, because most people will go for that strategy of trying to hit the big city and the biggest areas they can find. While you'll do that in directories, when you're choosing keywords for your website, where you really only show up if you're search engine optimized, we're going to go after the ones that have fewer people competing for them in general, there are fewer in that area, and even the ones in that area are often targeting more heavily the bigger cities. So it's a lot easier to win in a smaller area, and we're going to help you choose the locations near you that you can both service and win on in the search engines. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you what you're going to be taking action on today. First off, we'll go ahead and open up Google's keyword tool and sign in. So to do that, let's just go to our toolbar, and up here we'll click on the SEO folder, click on keywords, and click on Google Keyword Tool. And that will open up this page. When you arrive here, you'll notice that there's this CAPTCHA form that makes it pretty tedious to pull keywords, because every time you want to run a search, you're going to have to type in these weird letters that are hard to even figure out what they're saying. So in order to avoid that, Google says, well, if you're signed into your account, we're not going to worry about the CAPTCHA. So let's go ahead to the top right there and sign in. And here we go. Once we're signed in, now in order to sign in, you need to use your Gmail account. If you don't have a Gmail account yet, you can get one for free just by going to gmail.com or looking up Gmail on Google. You'll find that as well. You can sign up for free. You just have to have an existing email account that you can link it to. So go ahead and sign in, and once you're signed in here, you'll see this page. It says find keywords, and you can go ahead and type in words or phrases, and it gives you a hint here, one per line. So for each phrase, you're going to press enter at the end of it so it goes to the next line. In this case, the keywords that we're going to consider are for the sample of New York City. And let's say that your business, your law firm, is based right here in New York, but you really service this entire area. What we're going to do is go ahead and in Google's keyword tool, we're going to put in a whole bunch of different cities, and maybe we'll even put in Hoboken, New Jersey, since that's another area that we're saying we service here. And when we do that, don't worry about the website or category. We're just going to go and look up and find out, okay, well, how many people are searching for this city in general? Now keep in mind, I know this does not have to do with lawyers or law firm terms at this point. What we're doing is just figuring out, okay, which of the cities nearby are worth considering and worth targeting in general. So we're going to go ahead and click search here. And when we do that, you'll see down here that we have 7 million searches for New York City. Now, when you're looking at Google's keyword tool, the reason I say 7 million and not 9 million here is because we're looking at local monthly searches. So local means, in this case, the United States. You can see up here it says locations United States, and you can change that in advanced options if you're searching for a different country. But in this case, we're searching local monthly searches, and that's the United States, not your specific region within the US. And there's 7 million for New York City, New York, only 60,000 for Soho, New York. And then there's a bunch for Queens and Bronx. Brooklyn is very high. And Midtown East New York has almost no searches. Hoboken, New Jersey is a decent size. Um, so this is a starting point for us. So we can assume that if the general search term Soho, New York only receives 60,500 searches in a month, that Soho personal injury lawyer is going to receive very, very few. Um, the reason I'm making that assumption here is that in general, the Soho, New York, this keyword, what Google's saying is it's not people searching for this exact phrase, it's people searching for a phrase that anywhere in it has the words Soho and NY. It's for New York. So that means that they could be searching for circus in Soho, New York. They could be searching for Soho, New York hairstylist. They could be searching for meetups in Soho, New York. A wide range of different possibilities. And so the likelihood that a large number of those 60,000 is going to be about personal injury law or even lawyers in general. Lawyers in general, yes. Personal injury law, probably not so much. So we can go ahead then and take a look down at Hoboken, New Jersey. It's a bit more, so it might be one worth considering. It's a respectable amount. And if you look up at Queens and Bronx, those are definite winners there. We'll go back to, let's take a look here. If we go to Suval, go back to the tool that you just learned how to use previously, and let's type in, I'm going to press the right-hand arrow on my keyboard so that Google moves off to the side here and we can see all of its results. I'm going to type in here Hoboken, and you can see that of the most popular search terms on Google, lawyers does not register. And it's the same thing with Bing and Yahoo. Now if we typed in, for example, Manhattan, see if that's any different. It's really not any different. So again, if it does not have at least a decent search volume, the 6,600 Midtown East New York, that's a definite loser. So we're not even going to bother trying to target that term. Bronx, New York, and Queens, New York, definitely in. Brooklyn, New York. Now here's where we start to get, it gets a little bit more challenging. So Brooklyn has most likely got some decent competition. We'll look up in the next round how heavy the competition is for personal injury lawyers in Brooklyn, New York. Right now you can see that just the term Brooklyn, New York has very low competition. So if we were to try to search engine optimize for Brooklyn, New York, we might be able to make some progress over time. It's still going to be, it's low relative to the amount of searches here. But we're going to go ahead and in the meantime just choose the cities. So if we're choosing our nearby cities, we're choosing 1, 2, we'll go ahead for Brooklyn. Now New York City is going to be far too packed for us to succeed in, so Brooklyn is sort of our stretch here. New York City we may mention a little bit on our website because Google will want to see that, just to know that yes, we are in that area, but we're really not likely to show up very well for New York City without a very large budget and people working heavily on this on a daily basis. So if you're doing this part-time with one person, you really want to focus on those more achievable results. And again, Brooklyn's a stretch, so we want to think of that as a long-term goal. Queens and Bronx as midterm, and Hoboken is one that shorter term we're likely to hit easier. But what we found out here is that we're going to eliminate Soho from the SEO terms that we're targeting. We will target that with our paid search optimization because it's a small term, but Soho personal injury lawyers is actually still going to generate some traffic. It's not worth putting the money and resources into optimizing it for the search engines, but paying for it so that we get instant traffic for the handful of clicks per day or per week that we would generate from paid search, that becomes a worthwhile paid search investment instead of trying to optimize for it with SEO. It takes a lot of effort to optimize on a keyword, and if the keyword barely even has any searches, it's not worth bothering. So we want to go for that sweet spot in the middle. And that's how we're choosing cities. So what you're going to do, go back here, you're going to compare serviceable cities and states. So anywhere that you can service, you're going to put in here in Google's keyword research tool and put it with the state name, because for example, Soho might come up, people might search for a Soho fashion design company that's not actually relevant to Soho, New York. That might just be the name. Or Queens, if you just typed in Queens, there will be lots and lots of searches that come up with Queens, and not all of them will be relevant to New York. So the search intent, it may show a lot of searches happening monthly, but the searcher intent may not actually be New York, so it skews the data. We want to include NY after each of these cities that we're taking a look at. So that's what we're doing in this particular video, and next video it will become more clear as to why we're doing this. But go ahead and this day, right now, I'd like you to go back, pick 10 to 20 cities where you can win. So again, not the biggest cities. You will end up integrating those big cities if you're in a big city into your website, but pick the cities that you can win on, the ones that seem achievable based on what we were looking at right here. So again, if it's too small, if it's 60,000 or especially if it's 6,000, don't bother. If it's 60,000, you will get some searchers. So if all of the cities around you are small, if you're out in a rural area, you might consider that, but think about what there is in terms of a middle ground that you can target, because that's what your competitors are not going to be targeting quite as heavily. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining me today. Go ahead and take this action right now for your own business. I'll see you soon.